Hello friends, this is Worm. Yes, I'm back. And today, boy oh boy, do we have a fun topic to discuss in regards to Bungie / Destiny 2. And that is, should Bungie compensate players for what's been going on for the past few weeks, in some way, right? Whether it's Bright Dust, whether it's, Silver, should Bungie compensate players for not being able to play Destiny 2. Now, before we get into this, I want to point out there's a lot of you that watch my stuff that are not subscribed, so go down there and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel out a lot, and we do daily discussions like this, debates, all that fun stuff over here on the channel. So go down there, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification, turn on the bell so you get notifications, sorry. And without further ado, let's talk about this whole mess going on with Bungie, right? So, in case you are one of my viewers that does not play Destiny 2 as much as others, and maybe you haven't played in the past couple weeks, there was a major glitch that occurred last week that basically allowed players to put anything on any weapon almost. You could absolutely glitch the crap out of some guns and make them insanely powerful. And Bungie just came out and said, hey, have fun with it. We'll patch it eventually, right? So everybody partook in it. The master raid got delayed. The update that was supposed to come with bringing the master raid, which increased some other stuff, drop rates and stuff like that, was also delayed. And a lot of players were not happy about that. Not only that, though, a big thing that happened was Bungie's servers allegedly got DDoSed, and they have been DDoSed for like a week now, about more than a week. Yeah, it was more than a week, right? They've been DDoS, and players have been unable to play Destiny 2 for almost a week. They try to log on, they get hit with error code after error code. B, Weasel, I don't know what all of them are, but I know B and Weasel were two very common error codes that people got. And so should Bungie compensate their players in some way? Now, of course, the results kind of vary because I played not a whole lot, but I was able to get in. I could do, a game or two at Crucible before I got kicked. I could play, a strike, 2-3 strikes, something like that, and not get kicked. And finally, eventually I would get kicked out, right? I was actually going for a flawless trials run, and I got kicked out on my last game. Literally, we were 4-0 on my 7th win. And fortunately, the game put me back in long enough to get the flawless, get the, allow me to go to the lighthouse, stuff like that. But it kicked me from the game, put me back in. I went flawless, and then I got error code, so I didn't log back in to actually go to the lighthouse till the next day, right? But just because I've been able to play does not mean that other players have had the same luck. In fact, I know there are a lot of players, and especially it seems on console, that have literally been unable to log into Destiny 2 in a week. I have some people, that I know and that I talk to, and they have said that on console, like on Xbox particularly, they have just been unable to log in. Like they can click, the start button at the title screen. It loads them in. They'll get to the character screen, and then boom, error code back to the sign in screen, so to speak. And this is like, it's made the game unplayable, and not just unplayable. It's like, oh, like it's really frustrating because I keep getting kicked out of these games. Like, no, like they cannot get into the game to play. They physically cannot even get to orbit to launch an activity. Right, and that's super frustrating. And I have not been hit that hard by these server issues, but to the players that have, I can only imagine how frustrating that was. In the video from last week where we talked about the DDoS attack, we mentioned 2015, Christmas 2015, I think is what it was, and the Xbox Live servers were just kicked offline for 2 weeks by the Lizard Squad, right? I remember those times vividly because you couldn't play any video games. It was man, what a time to be a PlayStation user, right? Because PlayStation users did not get DDoS. It was only Xbox. But that was a very frustrating time. And so here we are in 2023, and we would assume, oh, hey, Bungie's got much better servers. They're probably not, they probably can't be DDoSed. They've got better security. There's less cheaters, blah, 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 blah. We were proven wrong. Okay. Apparently some kid in Russia. Now, I've only heard this through the grapevine. I have no actual knowledge on this, but apparently somebody in Russia was the one who was performing these DDoS attacks. I don't know if they are taken care of or not at this point. I was playing a little bit today and I didn't get any error codes, but I also checked the forums, and apparently a bunch of people on consoles had been getting error codes and couldn't play today. So of course, if that happened, let me know in the comments if console's still offline, or if you're still getting error codes on console. But that brings us kind of to the point of whether or not Bungie owes their players some sort of compensation, right? Obviously, the primary compensation is like silver. I've seen some stuff on the Bungie forums about, hey, like they should give everybody X amount of silver, 1,000 silver, like $10 for free, right? And this, it would be a great idea and a generous idea, but does Bungie owe its players $10 worth of silver? The answer to me, I don't think that they do, right? I really don't think that they owe players, what is essentially money, right? Silver is currency. Like silver's not bright dust. Silver is not, an in-game currency like legendary shards, something like that. Like silver is a microtransaction. It is a real money transaction. 1,000 silver is the equivalent of $10. You can only get 1,000 silver if you spend $10. This would be basically Bungie giving out however many thousands of players that were affected, or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, I don't really know, however many thousands of players that were affected over the weekend, $10. Like this is potentially adding up to hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're handing out, maybe even millions, right? Like I don't know exactly how many people have been attempting to play, or how many people were genuinely affected by these server issues. But this is like saying, hey, Bungie, like we want you to just give away millions and millions of dollars worth of merchandise just because there was a DDoS attack that really Bungie had no control over. Now, of course, was this, was this actually a DDoS, or was this Bungie, having server mess ups because of the glitch? We don't really know. I do assume that it was a DDoS, and I think that the person that did the DDoSing was either mad about the glitch, or they were, I don't really know. They were mad about the glitch, or they were mad that Bungie fixed the glitch. I don't know. But I do think somebody was DDoSing them. And I don't really think that that's on Bungie. Like, I don't think it's Bungie's fault that they're being DDoSed. Now, yes, there is a lot of blame on everybody. And we talked about this in last week's video. You can go watch that. But players are partially to blame for the DDoS attacks. Bungie's partially to blame for the DDoS attacks. But at the end of the day, the main individual or group or whatever to blame for the DDoS attacks is the ones who are DDoSing Bungie themselves, right? This is not a Bungie issue. Like this is not, oh, like Bungie, owes us all this money now because blah, blah, blah. And that's how people think. I don't think that's the case, right? But I think that Bungie does owe us some stuff. Okay. For example, Trials of Osiris this previous weekend, the Ignis Hammer was the drop. Again, that's the second weekend in a row that it's been the drop. It was also, the map for Trials was Javelin 4. Again, I think Bungie literally needs to do a freeze, like just a freeze in time. And they need to give basically everything that we missed out on last week happen this week. Or happen in, whatever week it is, If, let's see, what was last week's reprise rate? Was it Voltaglass, right? I think. Yeah. Or no, I shouldn't say. Last week was Vow of the Disciple. Like this current week, it's Monday, so blah blah blah. But with this current week, Vow of the Disciple has been the raid. People probably have not been able to do Vow of the Disciple. People have not been able to do Master Crota. Blah 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 blah. I think that next week, Bungie just says, hey, you know what? We're gonna take everything that happened last week and put it into this week too, right? Like that's what Bungie, I feel, owes people, right? Is like just a freeze in time, because the number of players that probably wanted to get craftable Vow of the Disciple weapons really high, right? The number of people that wanted to partake in the Nightfall from this week, was it the Devil's Lair? Probably really high, and that's a fun Nightfall. Like I would be mad if I missed out on it. So I think that Bungie should offer players some type of, in-game compensation for these missed activities. Not just hand them silver, say, hey, here you go, buy some items, right? Buy some cool cosmetic items, because at the end of the day, cool cosmetic items will not replace, for example, hours that you put into Master Crota's Inn just to get kicked, right? It would not, make up for, 30 minutes in a Grandmaster Nightfall just to get booted at the very end. Like that's not the issue. And there's nothing really that Bungie can do to compensate for that aside from giving everybody just another chance at it. Right? That is my thoughts on it. That's where I am with what Bungie owes players, right? They don't owe us silver. And I know that like it's so easy to say, well, it's not a real transaction, right? They can make silver out of thin air and it would be fine. And you're right. Like silver, even though it costs you and I real money, like Bungie has in effect a infinite amount of silver that they can hand out, right? I think the thing is though, silver is when you give it out, it lowers its value, right? When you hand out 1,000 silver to tens of thousands of players, it lowers its value. It takes away money from their studio, right? And I know that like it's difficult to say this because it would be an easy band-aid fix. Hey, everybody, here's 1,000 silver. I don't know. Maybe they do it in the future. I don't really know, but I don't think that is the correct way of going about it. Yeah, I don't think that's the right way of going about it. And I don't think as players we should ask for silver. I don't think we should ask for the band-aid fix. I think that we should ask for, number one, a plan going forward on what you're going to do to prevent DDoS attacks, a detailed plan, and I know not everybody's going to care about that, but people like myself, other hardcore players, other content creators, they'll care about that. They'll want to read it and share it with the public and summarize and say, hey, here's why they were able to be DDoS. Here's what they're doing going forward. That's step number one. Number two, compensation, give players the opportunity to obtain whatever they missed out on last week in another week, right? In the following week. I would say the best thing that Bungie could do, right, is next week, if they've officially got the DDoS over with, right? They've got security up, whatever you want to call it, and like they can't be DDoS anymore. I would say the best thing that they could do is have almost like a celebration week, right? Open up all Nightfalls to be, made Grandmaster, right? Open up all raids to be farmed, open up, anything and everything, right? Just like have a fun week. Hey, you know what? We're sorry that this happened last week and you couldn't play, but we've got it fixed. And so we want to make it up to you by giving you a week where you can do anything. Double rewards, right? Double in-game rewards, double raid loot. They've never done that before, but man, I would love to see a double raid loot weekend or a double raid loot week. Right? Like the ability to farm for, 10 spoils instead of just 5 at a time in Crota's Inn. Like that would be fantastic. The ability to get double chances at getting exotic weapons from old raids. I think that would be fantastic for Bungie to do. Again, I think that, I think they owe the player base something in, or I shouldn't say I don't think they owe. I think that if they were a good company who wants to show that they really do care about their player base, they should give us a really fun week of activities. They should not just give us the band-aid, here's a bunch of silver, go have fun, right? Because also, let's be honest, like how many players really care about $10 worth of silver? Like what does $10 worth of silver even get you? What, one ornament? And then you have some left over that you can't do anything with? You can get an emote, right? Like there's not much you can do with 1,000 silver. But if you could farm raids, any raid you wanted all week and get double drops from it, I would take that over silver any day of the week. But I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. We've been talking for a long time now, so I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think that Bungie owes the player base anything? Like, do you really think they owe us something, or do you think that they don't owe us anything, but they should do something for the players just to show that they care, that they want to make things right? Or do you think Bungie should just ignore it altogether and continue going about their business? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, if you like today's video, drop a like. It really helps the channel out a lot, and there's no reason not to. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations and debates such as this one. And do me a favor, watch the videos that you see on the end screen because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like them. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all next time. Bye for now.